Ms. Tisby, you were in love with the defendant and claim he has been ducking your request for a DNA test for your daughter, Jordan. You and your mother say he better step up and be a daddy when today's results prove what you've always known, that he is Jordan's father. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Quarterman, you say the plaintiff is delusional and is only trying to use you for money, and when the results reveal you are not her child's biological father, you want her out of your life for good.
Correct.
Mr. Quarterman, you say she's using you for your money?
Anytime they come around, it's about money. Yes, ma'am.
Explain.
They come around and they just simply ask for like different items or something like that. And from day one, I've been asking for a blood test. And that was from day one.
Do you always ask him for money, Miss Tisby?
No.
You don't?
I don't need no money from him. I take care of my own child.
And you've done nothing for the child, Mr. Quarterman?
No, ma'am, I have not. From the beginning, from the very beginning, I've been asking for a blood test. She came forth to me and told me about it after we had stopped communicating for a couple of months. Well, maybe about 3 or 4 months. But after that, she contacted me and told me that she was pregnant and that it was a possibility that I was another guy. So, however, you know, in between time, in the meantime, it's continued, you know, on and on. Here or there, they'll pop up. Oh, you gonna do something for her? A call, you know, come around my family house, stuff like that.
Did you tell him there was a possibility it could be another guy, Miss Tisby?
Yes.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
So admittedly?
Yes.
All right, take me back. I want to understand the nature of this relationship.
I don't know how the other party may have felt, but it was just simply kicking it with me. Yes, ma'am.
So it was just a casual relationship?
Yes, ma'am. Casual relationship.
I felt like we was in a relationship.
What gave you the indication that you thought you were in a relationship?
Because basically he was coming around the whole time. He even told me he loved me, so.
That sounds like a relationship. You
honestly,
love her, you come
I have
around
love
all
for her.
the time.
I have love for her, but not in love with her. No, not at all. She came about in a time in my life where, you know what I'm saying, I was kind of down and out, and me and her both was helping each other. You see what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden, you know, the baby situation came about, you know, and I told her from the beginning, since it was another guy, I want a blood test, and that's why I'm here to see you today.
How long were you all seeing each other casual? She said
a year, almost a year.
Almost a year.
I thought we was in a relationship, and he loved me.
I used to go get him to bring him to her.
Your Honor, that's a definite fib. I got 3 cars, so who would come pick me up?
Come on, I never came and pick you up.
You ain't never picked me up.
I never come pick you up. Just me and my husband.
Ever. You ain't never come pick me up.
We never came and pick you up and brought you to that house.
No, ma'am. Never.
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 So wait a minute, you'd pick him up and bring him over to your house?
I bring it to
him.
We stayed next door to each other. We had a 2-stair house. She stayed on one side of the house, and I had my own house.
So wait a minute, Miss Tisby, what you're saying is you saw firsthand that you believe your daughter and Mr. Quarterman were in a relationship.
Basically at night, he creeps at night, and sometimes I seen him sometime in the daytime, but he basically was staying there at night. They were together. They used to be together.
Just at night?
Not just at night, in daytime sometimes. He'll be there in the daytime. But she was just messing with him only. I know for a fact.
So that's what you're saying. Your testimony is that you know your daughter wasn't seeing anyone else during the time she was with Mr. Quarterman.
No, nobody but him.
Miss Tisby, you told him, you admitted there was another guy. You told him that. Did you? So was there another guy?
No. I just said it because he hurting me. He cheated on me.
Oh, you just said that?
But I'm in the wrong. I admit it.
Okay, so you're saying there wasn't another guy. You said that because he had hurt you. So
I was in love with him, though.
Your Honor, she has a medical condition. She was in the hospital. During the time or whatever the case was, after she told me about the pregnancy, the guy supposedly jumped on her in the hospital or whatever. And then from that point, that's when she came after me. Like, it's supposed to be him or her the whole time.
Yeah, I was with him. I was with the man. But
you just told her that you what?
After we broke up. We broke up and I got with somebody. That's how when I found out I was
It wasn't
pregnant.
another guy, right?
It wasn't.
I want to understand. Miss Tisby, wait, I need to understand.
Which one is it, y'all?
Wait, I need to understand this. You were with another guy or you were not?
I was not when we was together.
So when you were with
when
Mr. Quarterman, you were not sleeping with anyone else?
Nope.
Only after you got pregnant?
After I got pregnant, that's when I met the boy.
The other person?
She paid me. Before she moved, she paid me to watch her son. I know for a fact. She didn't know that guy at the time at all. I know she didn't know because she just was messing with him because I used to pick him up and bring him to her house.
You gonna stop saying you picked me up.
I never picked you up.
You never picked me up.
Me and my husband never came and got you.
I keep a car.
You keep a car, but
I got 3 cars at the moment.
How I know where you stayed at? How I used to drop you off at the corner of your house?
You never dropped my
I never did.
No.
I'm not gonna push you up under the bus, cause you is a nice person. But when it came down to that grandbaby there, that's what I'm here for.
And that's what I'm here for, cause from day one, like I said, I've been
day one.
blood
Yeah, I was
test.
in the wrong for
Where's
saying
the other
you wasn't
guy?
a baby,
Where's
though.
the other guy at though?
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. I want to hear about the birth. When Jordan was born, Mr. Quarterman was there or not there?
No, he wasn't. When I was pregnant, I told him everything. He came when I was pregnant, holding my stomach and everything, doing all that. But now she's not yours.
Tell me about the birth.
On the 16th of April, I had her. And on the 17th, they told me to come in the hospital because my little girl passed away, about to pass away.
So what you're saying is Jordan really was a twin,
Yeah, she's a twin.
and there was another baby.
Yes.
She was 7 days old. I had her, and she passed away 7 days after I had her.
And she passed away. I'm sorry. Did you inform Mr. Quarterman that this had
My
happened?
mama called him because my mom and my cousin called him because I wasn't paying attention to nobody but my baby.
Yes.
I ain't have time for nobody but her. And I can't sleep at night because of my baby. 2 years I haven't been asleep because I think about my little girl.
Yes.
And I came and told him. Me and my friend went around there and told him his baby finna pass. He told me to get away from his house. Why the heck I came around there? Told me to get away from his house. I said, your baby finna pass her last breath. Her last breath.
Ma'am,
Yes, Mr. Quarterman.
did not hear from these people. I'm just being totally honest. She crept up with the
My
preacher,
pastor.
whoever that was, doing the funeral, and she came and asked for
It wasn't no
money.
funeral.
You see what I'm saying? Whatever it was.
Wasn't no money.
Procession or whatever.
Nothing.
She came and asked for money.
No,
Do you
I
have any
never
money
told you
to
nothing
help
about
bury
no
this
money.
child?
I
Never.
didn't need no
That was-
money
but
because
that was
I
the
buried
whole
my
point.
child
Never
Come in-
said
that was the
nothing
whole
about
point.
no money.
I buried my child myself. I don't
You
give
give us
nobody
a
money.
chance.
Okay, hold on. Let me understand this story. Go ahead, Mr. Quarterman.
However, her and the pastor were sitting there, and they were saying that it was my child. I
Lord
explained to her
Jesus
that it was
Christ, that
supposed to
boy
be
down.
a possibility that it was another guy, whatever. I want a blood test, all this and that. Honestly, I'm not a bad person. You see
No,
what I'm
you
saying?
ain't.
But I'm not going to pay or put up any type of money for a child that I don't know about, because I have 6
Never
other kids.
said nothing
But you
about
made
no money.
see what I'm
twins,
saying?
so tell them you got twins too.
However,
6 other kids?
yes, ma'am, I have 6 kids.
And you got twins, sets of twins.
My first set of kids are twins. Yes, ma'am. But I mean that it just happened.
So, Ms. Tisby, you believe since Mr. Quarterman has a set of twins, that even further confirms that he is Jordan's biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
And does that do anything for your belief, Mr. Quarterman?
I'm not being ignorant about the situation, but I don't see that, I don't see that having anything to do with it. Because, I mean, that could come from her family, too. That's genetics,
Do you have any other twins in your family?
I got twin brothers.
So you felt like when they were having the funeral for the baby,
I never,
that they were just coming up to you asking you for money?
never,
And no, that's
Yes, ma'am.
never asked you for
However,
no money.
Even now,
Never.
throughout the whole time, though, you know what I'm saying? I'm not
Never.
a social media guy. I'm not a big fan of, the Instagram and all of those stuff like that. But she had posted some things online asking, I guess Facebook about am I the father or not. Would you like to see?
Yes, I'd like to see that
ma'am.
evidence. Thank you.
I guess.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
This is what? What are you submitting to the court, sir?
This is just, from, I guess, a Facebook post that she had, and she was asking Facebook, do I look like the child, or, whatever the
Oh,
case.
it's a split screen of baby Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
And you. And
That's
she
act-
writes,
oh.
do she look like him, yeah or nah?
For us to be in a relationship and everything like that, that is a booking photo for when I got arrested. So, however, you know what I'm saying, for me to be in a relationship with her, we ought to have pictures or, you know, some kind of stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
I never-
she got my booking photo off of Facebook.
Now,
Just
that's
like they
a
got my
shame.
address off of Google.
So, Ms. Tisby, listen, the question seems to indicate you're looking to take a poll as to whether people believe Jordan looks like Mr. Quarterman. Does she look like him, yeah or not? But you say yeah or no. Are you worried? Are you...
No, I said it because he denied her. And he was like, she looked like the other boy.
But like I said, from the very beginning.
And I got pictures right here.
Supposed to have been another guy.
Baby pictures.
What
of
evidence
him.
did you bring, ma'am? Let me see.
2 baby pictures of him.
And one thing about it, Your Honor, just let me speak. I understand what he trying to say, but if you lay with somebody, you got to pay the cost. Y'all laid together, y'all stayed together, y'all been together. You could deny what you want to deny, but like I said, now when this baby come out to be yours, you gonna have to not sleep at night.
I never had a problem with it from the beginning. And I'm sleep good.
We asked
Sleep good
you,
every night.
I personally asked you, we will pay for blood tests for you. You said, nah, it took 2 years to call this young lady for you to get results.
DNA test. We could have did this home.
We could have did it at home. But guess what? At the end of the day, you told me you don't want to take care of no more children because you don't want child support. You didn't tell me that. You don't want to pay no child support. But I asked you for some gas. Hold up. I asked you for some gas medicine when you told me, came in my household, like he said, sat in my house and told me Jordan looked like one of my kids. I said, oh, yes you did. You said anything Jordan needs, call you.
Your family member even said she looked like you.
You
Really?
Me.
Your family member even said she looked like you.
All right, let's get some order because I want to understand where we're going here.
You only got
So what you're saying is you even had a conversation with him where he seemed to be accepting of Jordan.
Yes.
I wasn't there, so.
But you were there, Mom.
I was there.
Okay. And he asked if she needed anything
Thank
and even
God.
indicated that she looked like
One of his son.
his other son.
Yes.
All right.
And
that's why your daughter just handed up this particular evidence. The first picture is a picture of Mr. Quarterman as a baby. And then the next picture is a picture of Jordan. You feel like they look exactly alike.
Yes, ma'am.
And you say even his family members say.
Yes,
Both
his mother.
Yep.
His mother said it.
Mom.
You see that little girl there? That's a princess.
Yes, ma'am.
She everything to me.
Yes,
God, hey, you gonna step up. You ain't gotta bring a dog. A child don't know about money.
Ma'am,
They don't care
understand
about
that.
money.
So, Ms.
I never-
Tisby, listen, I can see the passion in your eyes and as you speak about this beautiful baby, Jordan.
That's my baby. I'm her mama and father. I'm her everything. When she gets sick, she got a grandma. She don't need.
Your Honor.
Don't need nothing.
She don't need.
My baby good.
When a little girl need to know her daddy. Her daddy. She don't need no money.
You're right about that. Every little girl needs their father.
Yeah.
I think the reason why we're here is because, yes, we want
Papa.
Jordan to know the truth.
I'm gonna continue to say I never tried to run from my responsibilities
And
from the
that's what I
beginning.
just
All I wanted
said.
was a blood test from the beginning. From the
I
beginning.
asked you
I made
for
two
a blood
attempts.
test.
I made
Okay,
two
hold
attempts.
on. If you want
Two
a blood
attempts.
test, it was
I
so
asked
easy to
you
get.
so many times. I
On
even
Atlanta
went to your
Boulevard.
mama house.
Hold on, wait a minute. On Atlanta Boulevard, $198. You could have got a blood test.
Listen, I have heard enough testimony. I understand how we arrived in this courtroom today now. I do. And I have the results for you. Are you ready?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right. Ron, the envelope, please.
Yes, ma'am.
In the case of Tisby versus Quarterman, when it comes to 2-year-old Jordan Tisby, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Quarterman, you are not the father.
What?
Huh.
Shantina. Who is the father?
Don't
Who
start
is
dancing.
the father?
Don't start clowning in
Yes,
here.
no, I ain't.
I asked you at least 3 times. Was there anyone else?
I hope it ain't that who I think. Oh, Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus, help me. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
Do you know who Jordan's father is, Miss Tisby?
Gotta be that boy.
Take the wheel, Jesus.
Miss
Oh,
Tisby,
Lord, have mercy.
I can see this is making you
Is that
very
that boy
emotional.
that-
Do you know where this man is that she's
No,
talking
yeah.
about?
I do.
Does he have an interest in being in her life?
If he tried to, I think I'll put the police on him. He said, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I will apologize and I
Yes,
still
ma'am.
love you.
Yes, ma'am.
You is a good person.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to be happy because you know who her father is, but the way Mom is acting over there, I'm not so sure I'm that happy. Mr. Jones, you and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Milan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quanil Jr., is not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you took Ms. Milan and her other 6 kids into your home, and now she's trying to take you for a ride by claiming this baby is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Additionally, you say when today's DNA results prove you are not the father, you are seeking $1,500 for housing and child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Milan, though you do admit to cheating on Mr. Jones with another man, you say you're unsure if you were already pregnant when you cheated.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you're here today to prove to Mr. Jones and his meddling mother, once and for all, that Mr. Jones is without a doubt the biological father of baby Quanil Jr.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Jones, why do you feel Quanil Jr. is not your son's child?
Well, Your Honor, I contacted the court 3 days after the baby was born because I watched my son break down at the hospital. You know, he was going to be devastated if this child wasn't his. It doesn't make sense to not know.
And so how did you two meet?
Her mother and my mother was neighbors. When she moved back home with her mom used to talk to her about me or whatever like that.
And then how'd this relationship begin?
When I first, moved home with my mom, I noticed him. She was like, this Mr. Jones, he lived next door. We started, just on a friendly note, hey, how you doing? We'll sit out, we'll talk, laugh, joke. I go back in, tend to my kids. Eventually, he started I could tell it was a little more flirting going on. Like he'd be like, why don't you come watch a movie sometime? Or, I wasn't taking him very seriously because it is an age difference between me and Mr. Jones.
So why were you entertaining this?
We started off, we were just friends. I'd go outside, smoke, he'll play with the boys, my 6 other boys. Eventually they got the mom.
So he became close with the kids, he would play with the kids?
Yeah, he became real close.
And did you enjoy that interaction, having
Yes, I
someone
did.
there,
I
a
did.
father figure for your children?
Yeah, I did.
Did you all talk about having a baby? Was this a committed relationship? Was this just dating?
In the beginning, we were friends, like I said, and then we just eventually did have sexual relations. I didn't take it, serious at the time. I was with my ex at the time, so.
Oh, you were? You were
Yeah,
still
so-
with your ex?
Yeah, so that's when I kind of, leaned back off of Mr. Jones. But eventually I seen how I was feeling about Mr. Jones. Even after we had sex or whatever, he was looking at it as a friendship. But my thing was, I don't have sex with my friends. I thought it was more once I did cut my ex off, so.
So, Mr. Jones, you thought this was just what?
I feel like once I approached her, you know what I'm saying, I tried to make her my lady, she chose her ex over me.
You felt like you were runner-up.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Cause I came to her like a man. I was like, I like you and I'm feeling you or whatever like that, so we can make something happen.
Once I started sleeping with Mr. Jones, I was no longer sleeping with my ex.
You knew that a likely consequence of having unprotected sex would be that you would become pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you discuss that with Mr. Jones?
He always said he couldn't have children. Said the doctor told him. but-
Why'd you say you couldn't have children, Mr. Jones?
Because I used to play sports in school or whatever, so I had to, have a full body physical. And they told me that I wasn't able to have kids.
So during a physical, they told you you would be unable to have children.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, it was at a point where they had got to the point where they were serious to the point enough for her and her kids didn't have anywhere to go. So I offered for her and her kids to come to my house. That's how I thought that they were in a relationship with.
So you thought they were in a relationship?
Yes.
Because when she and her children didn't have anywhere to go, you said they could come and stay with you.
Yes, ma'am.
And they did?
Yes.
Yeah. When they came and stayed with me and my mom, we was then in a relationship.
Yeah.
When they came and stayed.
Ms. Jones, in your suit, the suit you've brought today, you're suing for $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you say she owes you some rent money because she was staying at your house.
Yes, ma'am.
But in your testimony, you just stated that you invited her to come stay with you.
She had
because she had nowhere to go.
She had nowhere to go. The bottom line, and I wasn't gonna leave her out there whether she had money or not, but eventually you're gonna get some, okay? I'm gonna look for you to reimburse me for what I'm doing for you.
Wow. And your son was living there with Ms. Milan and the children at first?
Yes, he left.
When I left, I didn't come back home from the bar. You know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute.
What happened
So
was
now,
she ended up going through my phone or whatever like that, and she seen that I ended up conversating with my ex, so they started an argument. So I left that day, and when I left, I went to a bar with my friends or whatever like that. My ex so happened to appear there.
He didn't leave.
Appear.
He left the prior. He left the day
those
after.
exes always appear.
Yeah, this was an ex.
They never
always
disappear. They only appear.
It was so much going on at that time. That's when I got so upset when I seen the text. I hadn't even been thinking about the ex. She had been out the picture this time for a sec. The ex always appeared.
So now when you're living with Miss Jones, the baby's born or you're pregnant?
No, this is before the baby's even conceived.
Even before
conception. Or maybe
why.
Conception could have happened then.
Mr. Jones, you took your one girlfriend and her kids, moved them into your mother's house, and then went with your ex.
Yes, pretty much. That's what
Yes,
he did.
Your Honor. Like you said, I'm young. It's a big age difference. I started getting a little, I got a little stressed out. You know what I'm saying? It's 6 kids, all boys, plus my mom, my two little sisters. You know what I'm saying? The house is packed. It was crowded. I got frustrated. I ain't gonna lie. It started to get to me.
Come morning, I have to go to work. So I'm calling him, I'm like, where are you? Where are you? You know I have to go to work. And he was like, he wasn't answering at first, and I was like getting mad. So I'm like, okay, I need you to be here because I wasn't comfortable with leaving her and all of her kids at my home unattended because she had so many. And by him leaving, I was like, okay, why am I doing this and you're not even here? And my reason for doing it was for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so you say she's trying to trap your son.
I felt like she was trying to trap my son because she stopped taking her birth control. She said it was making her sick, but she should have started another birth control instead of stopping it altogether.
What would be her motive to trap your son?
She want to be with him.
She wants to have him in her life. Is that true, Ms. Milan?
No.
Why'd you stop taking birth control?
I was sick. It was just making me sick.
And so how did you find out she was pregnant?
She called and told me. I was with my ex. She called and told me.
Is it still your ex when you back with her?
I left.
I'm gonna tell you.
She's still my ex. We wasn't together. When I was with my ex, we wasn't together. It just we had a long
we separated. I left.
relationship.
I didn't run back.
So get to the pregnancy part.
Okay.
She called. She said she was 3.5 weeks pregnant. I was like, by who? You know what I'm saying? She said it's a possibility it's yours. I know that. You know what I'm saying? Then she was like, I had sex with my ex or whatever like that. So she was like, it's a possibility it could have been him too.
So she tells you.
She tells
right
me
off
being
the bat.
honest, right off the bat.
It could be
She was
yours.
straightforward.
It could be his.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out she stopped taking the birth control, the first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she has 6 kids already and I know she's fertile. Use them.
Did you use them, Mr. Jones?
No.
See, you should.
Sometimes.
When you found out she was pregnant, even though she said it could be yours or it could be my ex's, did you step up?
Yes, ma'am.
You did?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure if it's a possibility of being my child, I want to be there. I don't want to miss nothing. I want to be able to go back and tell these stories and say I was there doing this, doing that. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
When he was being born, I'm right there holding her hand, watching everything. Yeah.
That's right.
And you were there as well, Ms. Jones?
I was at the hospital, like I told my son, just be there until we find out otherwise because I raised him without a father. And every child needs their parents. And I don't want him to be the man that his father. I want him to be a better man. So
I
When she
understand.
was pregnant, she
And
didn't
that's
have to
good.
lift a finger. Your Honor, she didn't have to lift a finger for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I did everything. To take care of the boys, make sure they going to school. I was,
did.
feeding her, doing the cleaning.
So did you ever tell the ex that he potentially could be the father too?
I told him first. I was around him at the time. I was feeling sick, and I was like, I knew I hadn't been out there that long also. But I did go to the store and get a pregnancy test, and it came out positive. I ended up telling Mr. Jones also. And, he did his talking or whatever, but he ended up texting and was like, okay, regardless of what, if that's my child, I do want to be around. Let me know when you go to the doctor.
So you were there participating like the father. Did you sign the birth certificate?
no, I told him
No,
not to.
I didn't
He
sign
wasn't.
anything because I wanted the DNA test first.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah, my son cried, Judge. When I say he cried, he literally broke down at this hospital. He literally cried and broke down because he was going to be devastated. And I felt his pain. I mean, I could literally feel his pain. That's why I contacted the court to help us, because I wanted him to be sure.
And when you say he isn't sure, can you explain to me what the doubt is exactly?
My brother passed in July the 16th of last year. And during that time is around the time that she got pregnant. And she came to give her condolences and everything, but she came with another man.
I drove.
And on another occasion,
I was driving.
I'm at a friend's house playing dominoes. It's a guy come to that house. It's like a different street. This guy come knocking on the door looking for her, and I'm like, okay, you on the wrong side.
See, I had my doubts because, the doctor told me I wouldn't be able to have kids. You know what I'm
And
saying?
so between you seeing her with other men, her admitting that she also slept with her ex, and then you being told, Mr. Jones, that you were sterile and wouldn't be able to have children, that's a lot of doubt for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Milan, you submitted a calendar to the court.
Yes, Your Honor.
This calendar outlines in red the date you were intimate with Mr. Jones. So that was June 28th.
Yeah, that's a...
And then next it shows in yellow where you went for your ultrasound on August the 8th. Mm-hmm. They told you
I
were...
was 5 weeks and 4 days.
You were 5 weeks and 4 days. So if you count back 5 weeks and 4 days, all right, I see you've had sex with Mr. Jones. Now your ex, did you have sex with him sometime during that window?
I want to say maybe 2 or 3 days after the 4th of July.
So if it was 2 days after the 7th, this is when you had sex with ex. That's still a very close window.
Your Honor, I ain't never been through this situation, and I do have 7 boys and all now. I always knew who my kid's father was.
You did sleep with both men during the window of conception.
Yes, I did.
And so, Ms. Milan, what are your hopes for today?
I'm praying, like when I first found out, and I was like, God, please don't let this be, my ex-child, even to the point where I was like, I'm gonna give it up for adoption if I could just know off the muscle that it was his, But I put it in God's hands, and I was like, I told Mr. Jones, and he stepped up immediately, like, he was there the whole time, 2 months on up until now. He's been there. He's all.
And you named the baby
know.
Quenelle.
Yes, I did.
But your last name because he didn't sign the birth certificate.
Yeah.
So what are your hopes, Mr. Jones and Miss Jones? Do you hope the child is yours?
Yes.
I pray
We've
he
been taking
I love
care of
him.
this child since the day he came out, Judge.
I love him.
And I will continue to do that. I just want my son to be sure that this is his child. If he's there and he's saying, Mama, this is my baby, that means me as a grandmother, I'm supposed to step up and take up where he's falls short.
I feel like me and her kids had a relationship before I even met her. Actually.
Okay.
So they used to watch me play ball. I used to teach them how to play ball and stuff like this. So I feel like they was there before
he was
her.
a good male role model the whole time. Like, far as them being around the male and him being young, like I couldn't believe the attachment myself. Like they'll ask, Mom, can we go out and get Mr. Jones, see if he want to play football or basketball, even to when they was, having trouble in school, Mom.
And so he was always there for them?
He was always there for them, even when we were just friends.
So, in addition to the $1,500 you're suing for, you also have spent money on diapers, wipes, formula,
Clothes.
onesies.
Anything I thought he
infant
would need
care
that he
items,
didn't have.
and you've provided the court with these receipts today.
Yes, ma'am. Those are just a few.
I will deal with your suit after I get done with the results. First, I'm going to go to the results. Are we ready?
Yes.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Jones versus Milan, when it comes to 3-month-old Quanil Milan, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jones, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm right.
You okay, Mr. Jones?
I'm ready to go.
I'm sorry. I hope you will find comfort in knowing that you did the right thing. No matter what you may have gotten wrong or right in the relationship with Miss Milan, you did right by this beautiful baby. As for your suit, Ms. Jones, for $1,500 for the room and board and for all of the expenses related to the child.
You know something, Judge? I don't need any money. She's gonna need everything that she has to take care of those kids.
This is why it's an honor for me to sit here, because I get to witness the power of forgiveness, humanity, compassion on a daily basis. Ms. Milan, you've got 7 boys, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You want them to grow up to be good young men, so find good role models for them and good role models for yourself. Mr. Johnson, you are here with your wife, but you are positive her newborn daughter, Diari, is not your biological child. You have petitioned this court to grant you a paternity test so you can get your name removed from the birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Johnson, you say that despite your husband's fears, you are confident he fathered your daughter and you intend to prove paternity today. Is this correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
This court must decide if there is sufficient evidence to grant a test. I want to start with you, Mr. Johnson. Why do you need the test so badly?
Because I wanna be for sure. I take care of all my kids. My name is on the birth certificate. I don't want a child to have my last name if it's really not mine.
And because you're married, you're on the birth certificate because the child was born within the marriage.
Of course. Half of the time I don't want to be there. I don't want to assist with the child. I don't want to do too much as far as fathering goes because, I'm really not sure. You know, I'm kind of uncomfortable. So majority of the time I'm just like piling myself up with work, staying gone, you know.
So you're admittedly detaching yourself from the home and the family.
Yeah, because I don't want to get hurt.
You're so afraid that the child is not yours.
Of course.
So, Ms. Johnson, how is this affecting you? How is this affecting the home?
My family's on the line. I'm sorry, it's emotional.
You don't have to be sorry. Family and children are the most important things to us. Take a breath and go ahead.
I feel like my kids don't deserve this. My daughter don't. She's only 10 days old. Like, she shouldn't have to be the black sheep of the family.
I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right.
You know?
And
I'm not trying to hurt anyone, but I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right, and in doing that, she feels you separating from the family. So we know that there is a lot on the line here, am I correct?
Correct.
So what happened? How do we get here? How does a married couple end up here before me in paternity court?
Honestly, we always had a rocky relationship. 10 years, separated numerous times, mostly because of me. I was always in the streets. This was like a normal thing for me, being in the streets, being gone, you know, dealing with other women. It was always, I never really cared the way I should, you know. After we lost our child, I just didn't like take heed to it. I just kept drilling and just doing what I wanted to do. I just never took her feelings into consideration. So, honestly, I can say that I played a big part in us being here today.
Okay.
But
Mostly all of it because of him.
So I appreciate the honesty. I'm gonna say that first off. I may not appreciate the behavior, but I appreciate the honesty. When you mess everything up, you gotta be man enough to say, you know what? A lot of the reason why we're here is because of me. We may have to examine what Ms. Johnson did because unfortunately we're in paternity court, so that's what we're gonna have to do. But I like the fact that as a man, you stood here and said,
thank you.
I helped make this mess.
Thank you.
So Ms. Johnson, your husband's testified that a lot of the reason why you got to this point is because of him. What happened?
When we first separated, it was just because of infidelity. Finding numbers in his phone, finding pictures, like all types of stuff just was happening. It felt like he didn't care. Like I find it for that moment, he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, but then he'd go right back to doing it. So, I mean, I left.
A lot of it was like business. Like she was,
That's what he
like I'm
claimed.
an artist, so I deal with a lot of women.
But it don't have to be, oh, you're beautiful. What you doing? Meet me upstairs. You know, stuff like that. That's not
At that moment, I felt that's what was needed.
I feel like it don't take all that. It don't take all that.
Well, this is actually a really good moment and a relationship lesson that many have had to learn. Because a lot of people work in businesses where they work predominantly with the opposite sex.
Right.
And it's not easy. Because what you tend to do is cross that line because it's very easy for that initial flirtation to turn into a lot more and destroy your family and your home, which is what it's doing.
I mean, actually, sometimes it did turn into much more. Sometimes it did.
Yep. I mean, know it did.
That's why we feud a lot. That's why we always break up.
So how long did the separation last?
About a year.
A year.
Yes.
All right, what happened?
Me losing my child, you know, having a miscarriage, I feel like I did it by myself. Like I went through the pain, the crying, everything by myself. Like he wasn't there. So I feel like ain't no sense of me being in the house.
It was just like, for me, it was more or less, I didn't feel like a man when I was around her. She never addressed me enough to make me feel like a man. I feel like I was
addressing too many other women. So
I felt like a supporter.
Why should I be there?
Don't say you didn't feel like a man, because I always say, if you a man, you feel like a man. A woman can't make you feel or not make you feel like a man. A man is a man. Now, I will say this, if you felt like you were giving and you weren't getting reciprocity and that pulled you out of the house, that happens in relationships all the time. I get that. So you separated for a whole year. What happens during the separation?
Well, during the separation, I just was...
just doing her and I was doing me. And we weren't planning on getting back together.
And so you were out dating?
Dating, yeah.
And having sex?
Yes.
And you were with multiple people,
Just one person.
With one person?
Yes.
And so, Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
after a year apart, how do you get back together?
I don't know what type of change of heart she had. She just wanted to come over. We cooked, have family dinner, family movie night, and one thing led to the next.
I just saw how my kids reacted to it, so that's what made me want to go back.
Because I was
saw
like,
how
gone for
happy
a
your
little
children
while.
were to be with their dad and with you and this. Yes, I understand that. And so how soon after you reconnected did you find out she was pregnant?
Maybe about 2 weeks or something like that.
After the
she come back,
reconciliation.
yeah. And I was excited.
I was scared.
Because
I know I
believe
had sex with somebody else.
So he was excited and you were scared.
Yes.
Because you did have sex with someone else during the time you were broken up
We were
and
separated.
thought you were never getting back together again.
Right.
So, Mr. Johnson, you said you were excited. How do you go from excitement to doubt?
After the excitement, we celebrated. We talked about it. You know, I mean, that was like the best time for me at that moment. Like, but here comes a week or so later, and she's like, I got something to tell you.
And what did she say?
She said, it's possible. I said, just be honest. Is it possible? She was like, yeah, it is possible that someone else may father. I just kind of like lost everything because all I asked was a simple question, and I just didn't get that answer. So it's kind of hard for me.
So you do admit, Ms. Johnson, that you had unprotected sex with this other man?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then when you reconciled with your husband, you had unprotected sex with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I didn't know who my baby's father was because I didn't know when I got pregnant, like what day I got pregnant. And by me going back to him so fast after being with somebody else, it was scary.
Did you ever tell the other man that he potentially could be the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
What was his response?
He just said, well, in the beginning it was like, I'll be there, but like if she's mine, I'll be there. But then after she was born, I asked him to come to paternity court. He said, I must have doubt or I must feel like it's his, and I was doing like it was ridiculous for him to come.
So let me ask you something. When did you two reconnect? Can you tell me specifically when that was?
On June 20th.
All right. I just want to do a little calculating myself. I have a conception calculator here. When was Diari born?
She was born on the 10th of this month.
All right, March 10th. So if we put the birth date of March 10th, 2019 and hit calculate, it says the window of conception would be June 15th through June 19th. Now let me go to the next page. So that would put the date of intercourse between June 12th and June 18th. Were you all back together then?
That's why I feel the way I feel. Like, no matter how you
And
dress
that's
it up.
why you are asking this court to grant this test.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, after hearing the testimony presented before me today, this court has determined that there is sufficient evidence to order paternity testing in this case. We will reconvene after both of you submit to DNA testing done by our laboratory, and I will have the results for you then. In addition to that, because you all are married and you have a family with other children, I'm gonna send you off to the laboratory, but first I'm gonna send you to talk to Dr. Jeff, because I believe it is important that you all begin to do the work. You're still married. I don't want to see this family destroyed, and I want you to be prepared. Court is adjourned.
And do you think you can accept the fact that your wife was with someone else?
Well, I've kind of accepted it, but it's still uncomfortable.
One thing I would say to the two of you, get yourselves ready for this result.
Court is back in session in the case of Johnson versus Johnson. In our earlier hearing, I found that there was sufficient evidence to order both of you to submit to DNA testing at our laboratory. Since our last hearing, what has gone through your mind?
No matter what the outcome is, I just want to be able to deal with it. That's all.
How about you, Miss Johnson?
Well, I've been nervous, kind of scared. I just don't know what to feel right, to be honest.
So if your husband is not Diari's biological father, do you know where the other father is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he expressed at all his willingness to be a part of Diari's life?
Just in the beginning, I haven't really spoke to him, like throughout my pregnancy or after, really.
Okay. Dr. Jeff, I'd like to ask you, because this is a very difficult situation and we have a family here. How do people prepare themselves for news that could devastate the fabric of their family?
Well, I think it's important for them, and we had spoken about this, to look at some of the other challenges that they have not dealt with. You talked with them a few days ago about the death of their child. She had a miscarriage. Mrs. Johnson had a miscarriage. And so I followed up on that cue and found out that Mr. Johnson had not dealt with that miscarriage. Instead, it almost propelled him, if you will, into that separation and acting out sexually. He cried.
Yes.
And he started working through it. And I think it will deliver them in a place just for you, Judge, where whatever this result is, I hope they'll be able to handle it.
Well, I am here and I have the results for you. But as you do with every family that walks out of this courtroom with good or bad results, however they perceive it, you're there for them. And you're going to be there for the Johnsons as well. You are going to meet with them again, no matter what the results are. He's going to work with you, and he's going to help give you the tools and help you identify the steps you need to take to keep your family together. All right? Are you ready for the results?
Yes.
Yes, Shauna.
Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Johnson versus Johnson, when it comes to 12-day-old Diari Johnson, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
That's great news. Absolutely.
So happy.
Oh, that was hard.
Wow. Wow.
My nerves were shot, honey. I was like, woo! I'm so happy for you all.